What's going on, guys? Shay5969 here, and today I wanted to talk about a super cool knife that I have on loan to me from my uncle's collection, a Benchmade Emerson collaboration from the late 90s. Let's get into it. Alright, so here we have the Benchmade Emerson Spec War Model CQC7. Now, this is a collaboration between Benchmade and Emerson, produced by Benchmade between 1994 and 1997. This was one of the most sought-after EDC knives of all time prior to the 2000s. Or at least that's what Emerson claims anyway. However, when Benchmade first acquired the designs to make this pocket knife, they wanted a different model, but Emerson said that no, that model that they wanted was going to remain a custom-only knife, and he allowed them two designs, this and another one. So this is the CQC7 Spec War Model from Benchmade and Emerson, and ATS 34 blade steel. Now, I've never heard of ATS 34 blade steel, so I had to look it up and do a little research. It's actually a Japanese tooling steel that a lot of U.S. and high-end production companies would import and use for knives and other various tool production. But usually it was used for high-end production. And then they said later forms of ATS 34 would basically be the same thing as 154 cm in the US. So, a little cool tidbit of info on that blade steel, because again, I had never heard of ATS 34 blade steel until I got this knife. So, a little cool bit of info on that blade steel for you. Unfortunately, it is tip-up only carry. However, this one did not have the pocket clip. And as you can see, this one has been used, it has been carried, it has been shown some love. And again, for a knife that was made between 1994 and 1997, this is almost 20 years old, if not a little bit older than 20 years old. And it still holds up really good. It doesn't have that nice drop shut action. It needs some cleaning up, and it could totally have it. It has that good thumb stud flick action with the thumb discs on there. Excuse me, not thumb studs. Now, a cool feature about these knives is they have that chisel grind. So going forward, once Emerson would start to produce these in-house in their own facility, which they would open up in 1999, but until then, and also going forward, something that Emerson would do is they do a chisel grind. So they only grind one side of the blade, sharpen one side of the blade, and keep the other side flat. So they claim that that's for ease of field sharpening. If you were out in the field stranded and you had to use like a rock or something to sharpen your blade, that's why they have the chisel grind, is so that you could do something like that in the field if you had to. If you had to sharpen it against a window or something like that, that becomes way easier to do when you don't have to worry about the bevel when the one side of the blade is flat. So that was Emerson's intent behind doing that, which was a cool bit of information I learned when researching for this knife. So it does have G10 handles as well, with the lanyard hole in there. But something cool about this knife is the liners are not steel liners like they are on most knives. These are titanium liners, which is something that Emerson still does to this day. So that's pretty cool that they still do that. And mind you, you can get one of these brand new today, but it's not a Benchmade Emerson pocket knife. It's just the Emerson CQC7. You can pick a brand new one up for around $190 to $250 depending how you get it. You can get it with the wave, without the Emerson wave. You can get it with thumb disc, without the thumb disc, thumb stud, without the thumb stud. a few different configurations, a few different materials, a few different blade shapes, but every single one is a chisel grind. So every single one is flat on the one side and then only sharpened on the other side. To this day, even still in Emerson knives, they still do that. So that's a cool tidbit of info there. They use the slogan "Designed for performance but built for extremes," and they're still made in the USA till to today. Emerson opened up a facility in LA where they would go on to produce their knives. But yeah, like I said, Emerson said that this was one of the most sought after pocket knives of all time. So I think that this profile is pretty famous over time. I don't have a brand new Emerson one in my collection, but maybe that's one we'll need to add to the collection. Who knows? But either way, for a knife that was produced between 94 and 97, this thing still looks great and in great shape. And even though it's been used and loved on and a little bit of abused, it still looks great after all this time. And it was a pleasure to check it out from my uncle. So I'm very glad I could get a chance to check it out. So again, huge thank you to Uncle JD for loaning me some pieces from your collection. Really, really cool. But yeah, they also have a washer on both sides. Thumb disc for ambidextrous opening. Titanium liner lock, tip up carry. Unfortunately, these have been discontinued. So the Benchmade Emerson version was discontinued in 1997. And then again, they would bring it back when Emerson would open up their own facility in 1999. So everything after 1997 doesn't have the Benchmade logo on there. It only has the Emerson logo on there. So, cool little tidbit of history. And their slogan was that what premium felt like in 1997. So, it's cool that this still flicks just as good as some other pocket knives that I know. And this is 20 to 22 years old. Very cool. Very cool piece of pocket knife history, and very fortunate that I could share this. Super cool piece, and even though it's been used and abused, I still think this is one of the very most sought after EDC profiles of all time. I mean, it's just so iconic. Nice 4-finger grip. It is a, let me check my notes here. It is a 3.25 inch blade with an 8-inch knife overall, with a 4.1 ounce weight. So not too heavy, not too light, just right in the middle. Perfect EDC weight, perfect EDC balance. Again, a knife that in the mid to late 90s would essentially redefine the EDC bar, right? So super cool. So since I got it out, let's do a little size comparison. Like I said, 3.25 inch blade with a 8-inch overall knife. So we'll start with the MSI to get a little comparison for size. And the MSI is a big knife, so yeah, a little bit smaller than the MSI. Sorry about that. And then we got our QSB Penguin. So pretty much smack dab in the middle of the MSI and the Penguin. So, and then I got our Kaiser Sheepdog out. To give you an idea of a little more size. So yeah, like I said, the Emerson Benchmade Spec War Model CQC7. So if you see one pre 1999, it'll have the Benchmade butterfly on there with the Emerson logo on there. That's how you know it's pre-1999. 1999 and after, it would only have the Emerson logo on there. So if you see one with both logos on there, that's pre-1999. So very cool. As always, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you could hit that like and that subscribe button for me, it would mean a lot. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.